What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, from a fantasy perspective, breaking down what we expect to see from him, we're going to have to obviously ignore last year, finishing the season with only 1.5 games played and missing the entire year with that fracture in his arm. Really disappointing season all around from the Steelers. And what we believe pretty much about the entire Steelers offense is hinged on what we expect to see from Ben Roethlisberger. Other than some preseason hype on Twitter with seeing him throwing balls deep down the field to Juju, there really isn't much to go off of. And that's where it's going to be really hard to parse through everything that's happening this year with no preseason. We're pretty much just having to make a guess as to what we expect from Ben Roethlisberger. Now, the injury he suffered isn't one that typically is one that you fully recover from, especially in his age. So I don't think that it's reasonable to expect him to be as good as he was in 2018, which was pretty solid. But I don't think that it's necessarily going to be a massive career-ending thing for Roethlisberger. Obviously, he wants to keep playing. So while I don't expect there to be the same efficiency from 2018, I do think that he still has value and clearly is going to be better than what we had with Mason Rudolph and Devin Hodges last year. So there's a lot that we need to get right with Ben Roethlisberger before we even look and consider some of the other options here. So let's try to do that now. So again, we're looking at 2018, not 2019. Obviously, this is pre-injury. So finished 2018 with over 5,000 passing yards, 34 touchdowns with 16 interceptions, and finished with 341 fantasy points, but 21 fantasy points per game. Very consistent, had multiple blow-up weeks. He seems to always start week one out pretty poorly, but other than that, you were pretty much happy for the rest of the year. Had a couple of down games. New England, Cincinnati, week 15, 17 was pretty poor, but multiple games above 20 points. And for, I believe, thinking back to 2018 where you were drafting him, near round 9 or 10, definitely returned value for that, and it was coming on the back of incredible volume. Now, obviously, Antonio Brown was still on the team, but Juju was playing really well that season as well. Antonio Brown is gone. They add Deontay Johnson and James Washington now with Juju still there. They also bring in Eric Ebron, so there's plenty of weapons there. James Conner at running back. You have Anthony McFarland, the rookie. Don't really think much of Benny Snell or Jalen Samuels at this point, but there's plenty of weapons for this team. Offensive line is still one of the better ones in the league. So this is heavily dependent on whether or not Ben Roethlisberger has the arm and the accuracy and the durability to make it through the full season. In 2018, the Steelers finished with 44.6 pass plays per game, which was number one in the NFL. That obviously dropped drastically once Ben Roethlisberger was hurt in 2019. He had 84 deep ball attempts, but pretty abysmal 31% deep ball accuracy. So he was already kind of losing his touch deep down the field in 2018. So probably expect there to be a decent bit of interceptions for that reason. Had 35 money throws, but 31 interceptable passes. I mean, that's like Jameis Winston status right there. And granted, a lot of pass volume, you can expect there to be an increase to the interceptable passes, but still, that is a bit concerning. And with a team that has a really good defense, maybe it won't end up being a problem for this team. But I don't know. This is going to be a really difficult year to project the Steelers. And I think that this could end up being a decent year for Ben Roethlisberger, even if he does throw a lot of interceptions overall. I mean, if the passing volume comes anywhere near where it was, that's going to end up lifting the tide of all the other ships with Juju and Deontay Johnson and James Conner and the like. So finished with a 92.3 passer rating, 7.3 adjusted yards per attempt, which was 12th in the NFL, and 0.46 fantasy points per dropback. So a pretty good year from Roethlisberger in 2018, even with the 31 interceptable passes. So what does that mean for 2020? So obviously we expect there to be a drop in the usage. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to sustain the same amount of deep ball attempts with that injury to his arm. Man, like we're really just kind of throwing darts at the board with this one. Like it's definitely unknown what we can expect from Ben Roethlisberger. And I remember you know, albeit with a much younger version of this, but this is kind of how it was in 2018 when we were talking about Andrew Luck. When Andrew Luck was coming back from his injury, you know, there was rumors that he wasn't even able to throw more than 20 yards down the field. Now, we haven't heard anything like that with Ben Roethlisberger, but we're going to have to keep our ear to the ground. If there's any concern that he's not able to chuck the ball like he was before, this is going to hurt him pretty considerably. But when you look at the weapons that he has and the overall prospect of this team, I think he'll still have a decent year. Probably not someone I'm targeting, but I think he's going to be able to at least bring the production up of the weapons around him, which is definitely a positive because last year it was just abysmal. So right now we have him projected dropping pretty drastically in the passing yards to 4,300. 30 passing touchdowns still and 14 interceptions, expecting him to throw a bit less deep down the field. So that would put him at about 272.8 fantasy points, but with the risk baked in, we have to lower his upside ranking to about a 3, even though he definitely could hit closer to his 2018 numbers. I mean, if he hits what he did in 2018 exactly like verbatim, then he's a massive draft day steal, because right now you can typically get him in like round 13 and beyond. But I do think it would be a bit, we should take a bit of caution considering the injury that he sustained. Probably not going to hit anywhere near the same passing volume that he did in 2018. But again, definitely going to do better than Mason Rudolph and Devlin Hodges. So I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting year from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I guess my overall take is I'm probably not targeting Ben Roethlisberger, but I do think that he does enough to bring this team back up into fantasy relevance, to bring back up guys like Juju Smith-Schuster. And while James Conner, I'm a bit more worried about injury. For injury reasons, I do think when he's healthy and on the field, James Conner will be a value where he's going right now. So we'll get more into that in the individual player videos. So I think that at least for laying the foundation, we can expect Ben Roethlisberger to at least be about 75 to 80% of what he was in 2018, which is good enough for me. And we'll use that, carrying that into our next videos. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more, and we'll see you in the next.